Listo, lo tenemos. Pues vamos al lío. Tenemos ya preparado el jueguito. Se viene filosofía y fumadas buenas porque he escuchado tremendas maravillas de este juego, de la cantidad de cosas que te plantea mientras juegas. No hay que hacer gran cosa, simplemente vamos como tomando decisiones. Así que vamos a ver qué tal. Cualquier cosilla de audio y demás, pues me decís, porque como siempre ya os digo, esto me suele dar la tabarra. Sigo aprendiendo, así que bueno, nada, vamos al lío. Venga, empezamos con subtítulos. Confirmamos en español y español. ¿Hemos jugado a Stanley Parable alguna vez? No. Ajusta la barra hasta la... Vale. Introduce la hora actual. Pues son las 6. Ah, vale, que va 6 y 7 de la tarde. Configuración. Vale, lo vamos a hacer porque el mando no me lo reconoce y no se me apetece estar con el ratón. Controles. A lo mejor es que este directamente... Vale, este directamente no usa mando, así que por eso no me lo reconocía. Pues nada, pues tecladito. No hay más. Vale. Venga, pues vamos al lío.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Bueno.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his
office. Y gracias además
office.
por confirmarme que me está funcionando aparentemente todo, porque he hecho una serie de cositas para los chats y demás y parece que va. Fantástico, fantástico, fantástico. Pues vamos al lío. Soy yo trabajando en mis tutorías. Vale. Muy de Office esto, por cierto. Y podemos interactuar con las cosas. Vale, con el clic. Wow.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
te puede ir a cualquier sitio, ¿no? Es que...
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office,
vale.
but it didn't make a single difference.
Vale, ya
Nor
le voy
did it
pillando
advance the story in
por
any
dónde van aquí
way.
las cosas. A ver si me quedo, por ejemplo, mirando un cuadro un rato. En plan embobado. Eso no, eso no lo detecta. Stanley miró el cuadro durante horas y en ningún momento se planteó que estaba perdiendo el tiempo. Da un poco de mal rollito, ¿eh? Así todos los despachos reventados.
Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
Es que somos un Stanley un poco retrasado. Wow.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Cruzada de la izquierda. Derecha.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Solo para admirar. Pues es posible. Posible para ver mi infierno personal.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Pues sí, que es bonita.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No me importan mis compañeros. Esta de aquí, ¿verdad? Pues no.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
No sé exactamente a qué se dedican aquí. Como... Es muy de Office. ¡Wow! No saltar. A ver, está pidiendo un poco que lo hagamos, ¿no?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Por ella.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Qué nariz. Nah, vamos por aquí. Oh.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
¿Nos fiamos de quién nos está llamando? Porque a estas horas tiene pinta de ser publicidad de Vodafone. O de algo por el estilo. ¿Lo cogemos? ¿Eh? Lo cogemos. Venga, vamos. Vale, ¿qué ha pasado?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife
buenísimo.
who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. and trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Qué puto mal rollo, ¿eh?
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
¿Qué cojones? Qué guapo.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Buen día, empleado. Oprime J en tu teclado. Y si oprimo otra, si oprimo K, que está justo al lado, o A.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Qué dureza, ¿eh? Madre mía. El narrador bully. Joder.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
No hay nada para comer. Oprímete para mirar la televisión.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Oprime F para pasar tiempo con los chicos, pero... ¡Oh! Gracias. Muchas gracias a los que os habéis unido.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Ajá, muy bien. Vamos a contar una historia a nuestros hijos.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Vale, venga, vamos a dormir.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Vamos a darle.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
L para no cuestionarte nada, me niego. Vamos a pulsar la A, o la V, o la C, o la Y. Y ahora no vamos a pulsar nada. Pero no vea, el psicólogo del chat GPT. ¿No puedo estar así un ratito? Da igual, ¿no? No tengo que presionar sí o sí. Claro, te cuestiona, te deja cierta libertad, parece ser. Vamos a no cuestionarnos
I
nada.
suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
Venga.
And I tried.
Hemos muerto. Vale, entiendo que... Vale. Bueno, primera muerte. Primera muerte que entiendo que es una de las posibilidades de las tantas que hay, así que... Vamos a comenzar
All of
ahora.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Parece que es como
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Parece que es como un inicio nuevo. No sé si tendrá en cuenta ya cosas pasadas, pero... Vamos a probarlo. Ahora no me voy a
Stanley
cuestionar
came to
nada.
a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left.
Voy a hacer el basic. Todo lo que me digan lo vamos a llevar a cabo.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Vale. Venga. No nos cuestionamos nada.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Executive bathroom. Tiene pinta de ser la sala de jefe.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
Vale.
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2, 8, 8, 5 era, ¿no?
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Vale. Hemos avanzado.
Descending
Sí.
deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Ojo. Vale, vamos a seguir haciendo todo tal y como nos dice. A ver a dónde nos quieren llevar. Y luego ya vamos tomando decisiones, porque probablemente se repita esto bastante.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Vaya fumada, ¿eh? Lo prometido era deuda. Fumadón. Esto ahora mismo es como una mezcla de Severance y del show de Truman.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Qué chulo. Me gusta mucho el concepto. Mira que es un walking simulator, pero está muy bien planteado. ¿Encendemos o apagamos? Vamos a seguir haciendo lo que nos dice. Apagamos.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Imagino que este será otro final. Efectivamente. Wow. Vaya fumadita, ¿eh? O sea, este ahora mismo nos acaba de hablar un poquito del concepto de lo que es soltar y en una dirección. Libertad, básicamente. De hasta qué punto somos libres de elegir y de tener.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Puede dictarnos la vida. O sea, es muy curioso, muy curioso. Ahora, en teoría, vamos a ir hasta el mismo punto, pero vamos a... o sea, antes hemos apagado la sala de máquinas, ahora no la vamos a apagar.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Bueno, tenemos también aquí más adelante la opción de salida, de escape. Esa no la hemos cogido tampoco aún.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Vamos a seguir hasta darle al no para así terminar con ese tipo de opción. Al final es como un juego de
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Hasta ahora es una
Now the
aventura
monitors
narrativa, no
jumped to
tiene más.
life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Vale, ahora sí podemos decir. Hemos dado antes al no. Vamos a darle ahora on.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Y empezamos de nuevo. Ya, vaya fumada, ¿eh? Vaya fumada. ¡Qué guapo! Vale. Vamos a tirar ahora por la parte de escapar.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ay, esta era, ¿no? Sí, sí. Me he rayado.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Vamos a intentar
Yet
como
there
ir
was not a
yendo
single
para
person here either.
atrás.
Feeling a wave of
A poder
disbelief,
ver la
Stanley decided to go
diferentes
up to
opciones
his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Vale. Aquí no había nada.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Esto que no se abre. Esta que tampoco se abre. Sí, sí se abre. No nos vemos. Pues el cristal está lleno de mierda. Ser rico es un crimen. Cometer crímenes de rico. Ajá. Interesante. Vale. Pues continuamos. Y esta puerta se abrirá. Pero claro, es que no hemos estado abriendo puertas ninguna. Pone. Espérate. Me agobio, ¿eh? Me puede el FOMO porque no quiero ahora perderme lo otro. Entonces, voy a seguir.
The moment he entered his manager's
Voy a darle
office,
más rápido a
Stanley
esto
froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere.
No, era
Could he
2,
really
8,
be all
era
alone?
2,
This was
8,
too much
4,
for Stanley
5.
to take. Too much. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as
Sí,
possible,
aquí sí te
he didn't
plantea-
even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Ah. ¡Ábreme la puerta, loco!
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Venga. Por aquí no hay nada. Ahora era subir. Pues si le damos aquí. ¿Le he dado? Vale, me sigue llevando para abajo, o sea que da igual. Vale.
Stanley walked straight
Ahora-
ahead through the large door that
Ahora es
read
cuando tenemos
Mind Control
la
Facility.
escapada. ¡Ay, muchas gracias! Vale, pues ahora cogemos camino de escape. A ver qué tenemos. Porque ya hemos
Although
hecho
this
toda esta
passageway
parte.
had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Bueno, no pasa nada. He muerto 3 veces ya.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and
No,
get back on
seguimos.
track.
No hay miedo.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
¿Me espera un jumpscare o qué? ¡Oh! ¿Que me puedo suicidar? ¿Cómo? Espérate. ¿Me puedo suicidar? ¿O es solo otro camino? Venga, ¿por qué no? Sirve para suicidarse solo. ¡Qué loco! Ah, no, estamos vivos.
As the machine whirred
¿Qué?
into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected
van a
that his life had
recrearse
been
en el
of no
sufrimiento,
consequence
¿no?
whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man.
Sí, no puedo hacer nada.
So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end
Y,
to his brief and shallow life.
a morir.
Farewell, Stanley.
A no ser que nos gaste otra bromita el narrador. Y...
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
¿Cómo?
In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Ah, pues no. Vale, y ahora nos ha cambiado el narrador a una narradora. ¡Qué paranoia!
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever.
Ay,
What
muchas gracias.
exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Pues se agradece el seguimiento.
When every path you can
es?
walk has been created for you long in advance, Death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Vale. O sea, esto ahora mismo es como una especie de limbo, entiendo, de el propio juego, rollo metajuego, porque te plantean los créditos ya, te van dando como un poco el cómo está configurado, ¿no? El juego. Pero es eso, es como una especie de limbo en el que te dan como una explicación de cómo es o cómo ha sido supuestamente el concepto de tu vida, ¿no? Y sin embargo es como los archivos del juego. Sonidos de botones. La selección de los sonidos que se utilizan en el juego cuando se oprimen botones. En cada uno de ellos se combina un tono sintetizado con el sonido que se produce al presionar un teclado. Vale. Y esto. Los creadores y tal. Computadoras de la oficina. Y esto, claro, ya se entiende que he llegado como hasta aquí. No sé si ahora nos cambiarán, ¿no? Porque... La oficina. Sala de mantenimiento. Es que... Es como... Muchas gracias. ¡Ojo! Que hemos alcanzado ya el objetivo de seguidores. Maravilloso. Pues nada, a seguir. A seguir para arriba. Vale. O sea, y tengo que retomar de nuevo porque... O sea, esto... Entiendo que ya no va a tener ninguna narración. Porque básicamente es como el final del juego. Hemos optado por una especie de final. Estoy con mi otra cuenta. Muchas gracias. Estaba comentando eso, que es como un final ya que nos han dado. Final. En el que estamos dentro de las entrañas del juego, de cómo se ha creado, de los elementos que tiene. Y como que de aquí ya no se puede salir. Entonces es una especie de eso de limbo. En el que para poder nosotros ahora continuar o empezar de cero, hay que salir realmente del juego. Porque no hay nada más. De hecho, tenemos las opciones y todo. Hostia, qué loco. Hemos llegado aquí sin querer. Muchas gracias. ¿Qué paranoia? O sea, esto al final es como el diagrama de flujo, representado de otra forma, en la que se ven como las opciones por las que podemos ir tirando, pero... Hostia, es que estoy ahora mismo un poco flipándolo con el planteamiento. Es muy loco. Palancas del final Zen. Al principio estas palancas eran parte del final Zen. Cuando el generador accionaba las palancas, el narrador describía qué color había accionado. Es como que pasas, aquí es como que pasas a otro plano, que es ese, ¿no? Ese plano del limbo en el que has llegado al límite. Y efectivamente hasta que no reiniciemos, no vamos a poder continuar. Escritorio de la cuenta regresiva. Ascensor. Por aquí es por donde hemos tirado, ¿no? Stanley Parable. ¿Cómo? Espérate. Esta parte la hemos visto. Es que claro, te pierdes también.
Spend the next hour trying to solve it. Here, I'm just going to make this easy on you. Where were all these clues?
Tomas de narración descartadas. Vaya guapo.
They're throwing a surprise party for him for all his button pushing. Does that sound...
Por cierto, ¿quién es el narrador? Porque... Tremendo narrador. Claro, por aquí. Esto sí es la entrada. Hemos venido de allí. Pues esto de aquí del final. Final de la libertad. Esta es la primera versión final. Y es curioso, aquí pone salida. Vale.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Hostia, qué movida. En sí, le damos a no.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let
Otra vez. ¿Nos lleva al mismo sitio ahora? Empezamos de nuevo. O sea, entonces si te mata, te dan como una oportunidad y te llevan a ese limbo raro. Hostia, tío, qué loco.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided
el escape,
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Vamos a seguir con la de la izquierda. Vamos a seguir con la izquierda y a ver qué es lo que nos encontramos ahora. Porque está lo del escape y luego
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Esta escalera, para abajo, vamos a probar.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
Esto me acaba de
He thought to
recordar
himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, This was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
¿Y se acabó? Pues sí, vaya fumada. Wow, pero me ha recordado mucho al PT esta última parte. Eso de ir pasando por la misma zona una y otra vez y te van cambiando sutilmente pequeñas cosas, en este caso con el narrador, ¿no? Vaya tela. Está muy guapo, pero...
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
Nuevo contenido. ¿Qué? Hostia, qué loco.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Qué guapo y qué originalidad, ¿eh? No, suena súper...
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Me parece fascinante, o sea... La
Is it broken?
que
What's
tienen que
going on
plantearte esto
here?
mismo, ¿no? Como ese DLC.
Should we be moving somewhere?
El contenido extra al
Oh,
final.
there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
¿En serio? Ahora podemos saltar o no saltar. ¿Y si pasamos de saltar?
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Me da FOMO, ¿eh? Necesito ahora hacer los saltos. Lo siento, me da FOMO. Vamos a volver y vamos a hacer el ridículo como bien se manda. 30 saltos, pues damos los 30 saltos. Contenido de calidad. Es que me está flipando, o sea... Chapo por los creadores de este juego, por los desarrolladores. Increíble.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive.
No, la
it's
verdad
just
que no.
elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Es curioso porque aquí ahora el narrador es como más tu colega.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great
¿Puedo
time
sentarme
together
en
like
esta silla y
always.
esperar?
What do you say, friend?
Ya, pues esto sí que es nuevo ahora.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Y mal rollo.
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine.
Sí, sí quiero,
You're
pero
a
no
dork
sé.
anyway,
Vale,
so
ya
who
se ha
cares?
agachado.
Oh, never mind. You're not a dork. Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
No le falta razón, Este. Este es el último que hemos tenido. Qué guapo que se vayan poniendo por aquí. Claro, entonces entiendo. O no, simplemente es coincidencia que se van colgando por ahí los recuerdos, ¿no?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now, a lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Vale, nos ha abierto esa puerta y esta. Esta no se puede abrir. What? De verdad que este juego está hecho para hacer sufrir a la gente con FOMO, ¿eh? Bueno, y yo creo que a los que no tienen FOMO también, porque vamos, tengo poco FOMO con algunas cosas, pero con este juego lo estoy pasando mal. En el sentido de que siento que me estoy
Here's
perdiendo
another moving
muchas
passage,
cosas.
this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Vale, otra puertecita. Esta.
These were simpler
Cuando
times,
lo
Stanley.
venía. Vale.
But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Vale, ahora es que tenemos este camino. ¿No? A ver. No, menos mal.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. But dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore...
Ya está. Había que darle.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are or were or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made in fact make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
Vaya locura.
Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
Es que claro, ahora no sé
manifesto.
si dejar lo que siga
Treatise,
durante
manifesto.
lo que pueda durar
Treatise,
o darle.
manifesto. Treatise,
Pero es verdad que
manifesto.
me tiene ya un poco harto.
Treatise,
Ahora mismo.
manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise,
Vale, voy a hacer una cosa.
manifesto.
Me voy a llevar durante
Treatise,
un
manifesto.
minuto
Treatise,
mirando a la cámara
manifesto.
directamente, esperando
Treatise,
a que se arte, si no lo quito.
manifesto.
Vamos a
Treatise,
empezar.
manifesto. Treatise,
A ver.
manifesto.
Controla bien. Me
Treatise,
lo voy a marcar.
manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
Un minuto, ¿eh?
Treatise, manifesto. 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 Treatise, manifesto.
Tiempo.
Treatise, manifesto.
Hay que quitarlo.
Manifesto.
Las veces que he estado mirando así más
Treatise,
abajo es porque tengo el aro de lo
manifesto.
justo enfrente y cada vez que miraba la cámara me deslumbraba y me hacía llorar.
Treatise.
Nada, le damos.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's
Muchísimo.
the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right.
Siguiente.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45...
Adelante, venga. Ahora vamos a darle todo el
Stanley,
rato.
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
Ahora mismo el aro de
Or
luz
2 weeks.
en,
I've been sitting here
en mi
all
campo
that
de
time,
visión.
just sitting here, not a single person to speak. Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had...
Ojo. Se ha caído el reloj.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said...
Venga.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Cojones. ¿Qué ha pasado? Hostia, qué loco. Entiendo que, claro, están pasando ahora décadas o siglos. Pero además no está pasando nada. Hostia. Vale, ahora me toca divagar por el espacio infinito de... no sé. Qué fumada, ¿ves? Vale. Y empezamos ahora desde el principio. Buah.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it.
Vamos a tirar ahora por el
If
lado
he checked
derecho.
over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Esto es nuevo contenido. Pues ahora vamos a tirar por el lado derecho.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Por aquí creo que no pasamos, ¿no? Claro, vinimos por aquí. Pues vamos a tirar ahora por este otro lado.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Vamos a probar ahora este.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way. No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Vale, sin más.
All of his co-workers
Si
were gone.
seguimos ahora por
What
la
could it mean?
derecha
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
y
Perhaps he
nos
had simply
metemos
missed a
otra vez
memo.
por donde íbamos, volvemos a reconducirnos, entonces vamos a seguir por adelante a ver si hay otra opción que tomar.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No,
Hostia, ¿no?
no, I restarted. I swear, I
pues
definitely
seguimos.
restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Hostia. Vaya fumada.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Vale, nos ha reiniciado.
All of his co-workers were
Igual,
gone.
vamos a seguir
What could
ahora
it mean?
entonces por la
Stanley decided to go to
derecha,
the meeting
pero
room. Perhaps he had simply
buscando
missed a
otra opción.
memo.
Y yo no sé cuánto.
Okay, yep, it's worse.
Ah,
I might be
sí.
remembering this
Oye,
wrong.
cómo se queda con
It's
nosotros,
possible
eh.
the story is back where we just came from.
Madre mía.
Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
¿Cómo se queda el narrador con nosotros? También os digo, qué fantasía, ¿eh? Qué muestra de creatividad, de originalidad. Es una fumada. Se pasa un poco mal porque... Eso, sientes que te vas dejando cosas todo el
I
rato.
knew we'd missed something.
Pero-
The story.
Es que en
Here
eso
it
consiste al
comes.
final.
No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line.
Sí, ahora tiro por
Just
otro lado.
follow the line. How simple is that? No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Vale, me está obligando directamente. Como aquí no tengo capacidad de decisión.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay, now if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
Vaya corta rollo.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
¿Seguimos?
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. This all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it. We should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay. So I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
No podemos tirar para esto, ¿no? Final de la confusión.
Hold up, what's this?
Cojones, ¿en
The
serio?
confusion ending. You're
Durante
telling me
20 minutos hemos estado
that's what
jugando
this
a
is?
eso.
It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination, so I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
¿Hemos empezado de nuevo?
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look
Seguimos en la
like?
misma.
There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Nos tiramos.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Y se reinicia ahora sí, ¿no?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Vaya fumada.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
¿En serio? Vale, ¿y si ahora vuelvo?
Good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
Vamos a volver ahí, ¿no?
No! What did we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here.
¿Y ahora vamos a volver?
You are going to stay here, aren't you?
Buah. A ver, básicamente al final vamos a aprovechar esta especie de pausa para comentar un poquito lo que busca transmitir el juego, que es esa sensación de libertad, ese concepto de libre albedrío que pensamos que tenemos y que existe, y que cada uno, dependiendo de las decisiones que tome en su vida, puede considerarse que está actuando conforme a sus propios criterios, conforme a sus propias decisiones, o si realmente esa serie de decisiones y esa serie de elecciones que hace realmente están condicionadas por otros factores, como parece aquí. Entonces, como esa paradoja y ese concepto propio de la propia libertad. ¿Hasta qué punto somos libres? O al menos aquí, tal y como lo plantea el juego, porque plantea otras muchas más cosas, pero la libertad aquí es hasta qué punto tú tienes posibilidad de elegir o estás eligiendo libremente dentro de lo que te han establecido. Y en teoría es un poco eso, ¿no? Porque hay límites dentro de este juego. Pero esto, claro, es la cosa de extrapolarlo a lo que sería la vida. De hasta qué punto nosotros elegimos libremente las opciones que queremos, o hasta qué punto es cierto que estamos muy limitados por determinados factores. Está claro que por ahí, por ejemplo, no podemos continuar.
You heard me before, didn't you? You will die!
Que sí, que
What
sí.
about this isn't getting through to you?
Vamos a morir. ¿O no?
No! Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment.
Vamos a tirar otra vez.
Now, no, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me? My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Esta ya sí parece definitiva.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Vamos a hacer la
Perhaps he had
última
simply
ya,
missed a memo.
porque ya hemos explorado bastantes opciones. ¿Verdad que lo de nuevo contenido me llama? Voy a probar rápidamente con la que había
When
en la
Stanley
derecha,
came
ahora
to
en
a
vez de
set of
saltar
two
a
open doors, this was
continuar.
not the correct way to the meeting room, and
Y ya
Stanley knew it perfectly well.
cambiamos si acaso a otra
Perhaps he
cosita.
wanted to stop by the employee lounge
verdad que al final
first,
juego que
just to
te-
admire it.
El juego en sí
Stanley
lo que
felt
busca es
lightheaded,
transmitirte
butterflies in his stomach,
una idea,
but eager
un
to get back
concepto,
to business, Stanley took the
mandar
first
un
open
mensaje,
door
en
on his
definitiva.
left.
un mensaje muy concreto en el que
Stanley was so
repetir
bad at following
un patrón
directions,
que
it's
ese
incredible he
concepto de
wasn't
definitiva en
5
varias
years ago.
ocasiones, vas viendo realmente qué es lo que
Look, Stanley, I think
lo que
perhaps we've gotten
pretende.
off on the wrong foot here.
No es que tengas que
I'm
llegar
not your
realmente de un
enemy,
punto A a
really,
un
I'm
punto B.
not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
Había que cogerlo.
You need to be the one to do this.
Y ya creo que no se podía volver atrás, ¿no? O sea, no podemos elegir ahora.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Empezamos de cero y probamos el nuevo y ya.
All
lo
of his
damos por
co-workers
finalizado.
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to
Muy
go to
guapo.
the meeting room.
Esto es una
Perhaps he
cosa
had simply
que
missed a
yo
memo.
pondría en clase de filosofía para trabajar este tipo
Oh,
de
good.
de
You
cosas.
noticed my sign. Yes, I have something
De libre
very
albedrío, de
exciting to
libertad,
show.
de conciencia incluso.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy... Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Me siento un poco abrumado, la verdad. Logro gratis.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen. What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Vale,
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving... A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well,
sí.
I'm happy to say that after much consideration,
clave, ¿no?
I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Vale, pues eso es ir dando ya vueltecitas por aquí. Ni tan mal, hasta guay.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Vamos a probar este y ya lo damos por terminado. Vale.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Bueno, vamos a ver si es verdad. Y con el cubo. Sería una buena forma de terminar esta primera parte, así que vamos allá.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Amigo.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Vale, pues lo vamos a dejar aquí. Lo vamos a dejar aquí con este juego, porque ya hemos visto todo lo que había que ver, hemos visto el mensaje que nos pretende mandar, hemos hablado también de ello, o sea que mucho más, y además ya se me hace un poco pesado seguir, no le veo mucho sentido continuar de esta forma.